My New Year's resolution almost a year and a half ago now was to normalize my relationship with food. I used to get into major disagreements, anger problems, blow ups, meltdowns. Sometimes I would lose my job over them, over food craving addiction problems. I thought I'd make a video, a memorial, if you will, of all the problems I've had since the resolution. It hasn't been perfect. I gotta recognize that. I think the first problem I had was on the very first day of the pandemic. I had gone to my favorite grocery store, not knowing any better. I just assumed I could get my favorite food and that would be it. I needed to take my mind off of what was going on. I was trying to get some kielbasa sausages. And I naively thought I would just go in the store for a quick 5-minute trip. They were sold out. And I went crazy going from store to store to store looking for sausages. Now, what was really eye-opening was my mother had called me. She was concerned about me. This was mid-March 2020. She was concerned about me, asking, "Are you okay? Do you have toilet paper?" And I responded that I didn't have my favorite kielbasa sausages. I didn't even care about toilet paper. Okay, now, about a month into the pandemic, April 2020, I had gone to the store. I was lined up at a self-checkout stand, and the guy in front of me had so much trouble using the self-checkout. And I offered to go help him because I was like, come on, get going. I had been fasting for 16 hours at that point. I wanted so badly to get to my favorite food. I forgot we were in the middle of a pandemic, and I stepped right next to him to help him on the screen, and he pushed me away, say, "Get your corona face away from me." And I was so frustrated, and the argument only added to my frustration that I totally lost my appetite. He finally figures out the machine. He leaves the store, and I wave at him to thank him for causing me to lose my appetite, because now, instead of a 16-hour fast, I was going to shoot for a 24-hour fast now. And I quickly thanked him. I didn't say fasting, but I think I said something along the lines of, "Thanks for helping me lose my appetite. I'm trying to lose weight," or something like that. And he puts his middle finger up and says, "Fuck you." And that causes me to get even more riled up, and I lost my appetite even more. And I ended up fasting 24 hours. But obviously not the best way to do it, and obviously not a very healthy relationship to have with food. Now, a few months after that, I was once again at the self-checkout stand. You gotta remember, back in May, June 2020, they were compulsively always cleaning the self-checkout computers. And as somebody with high-functioning autism, I don't want to touch the machines if they're still wet with disinfectants. Who knows what's in those chemicals? One of the machines had opened up, but one of the employees had just cleaned it, and I was hoping to wait for another machine. So I waved at the person lined up behind me to go use the machine that had just opened. He steps up, and simultaneously somebody just happens to finish another machine, and he steps up to the other machine. I'm so frustrated. I was so badly wanted to get to what I wanted to eat, and I threw all my groceries on the floor, and I stormed out of that grocery store. I was so frustrated. I'd been waiting in line for 5-6 minutes after wanting to get whatever I wanted. And then we had the Black Lives Matter protest. I did kind of well during that protest, actually. I went to that protest after having fasted 24 hours, if I remember correctly. Now, in the winter of 2020, I moved out to Wallace, Idaho. And I quickly adjusted to the food over there. The foods that are available at the store in Wallace, very different than Seattle. Right? Wallace is a small town. Now, one day I had driven from Wallace to Missoula which I had lived in previously. And I was going to go to the grocery store to get my favorite bag of chips made with avocado oil. But when I got to Missoula, I couldn't find the store. I got very disoriented about directions. And I spent 30 minutes looking for that store instead of... There's a lot of stuff to eat there. There's restaurants, there's other grocery stores. I got so fixated on that bag of chips. And after I found the bag of chips, I was so disgusted at what I had just done, I didn't even want to eat them anymore. That's how stupid it was. Okay, fast forward. What was the last time I ran into problem? Oh, a couple weeks ago, I was living in an apartment in a different apartment in the Bellevue, Washington area. I got distracted with something. I was gonna go next door to get some of my favorite food, but I got distracted, and when I looked at the clock, I only had 5 minutes until I had to tutor somebody. I work remotely now. I just became a huge mess during the tutoring session. To add insult to injury, the kid I was tutoring had a very bad connection to the internet. It just added to the confusing situation. Anyways, I think these are a lot less stressful than previous eating addiction problems that I've had in years past. And I'm so glad that none of these resulted in me getting hurt, breaking up in a relationship, losing a job, getting in trouble with the law. I've had all sorts of stuff like that happen in the past due to my food addiction problem.